Welcome to the Yoga Connection with Zorananda. The Yoga Connection is a deep dive into everything yoga. Follow along with Zorananda and his guests as they discuss yoga history, spirituality, different practices, and the many misconceptions that have followed along throughout the years of yogic tradition. All right, welcome to the Yoga Connection. My name is Zorananda, and I'm joined today with a good friend of mine. His name is Robin George, and welcome, dude.
Hey.
I mean, you're welcoming me into your
I'm
basement.
technically welcoming you into my basement. That is correct. Yeah.
So, maybe just explain a little bit who you are and why we're doing this,
Why are we doing this?
Well, I need more guests on my show, so there's that.
Yeah, right. And I need to be on podcasts so
I need
people
to
know
be
I
podcasts.
exist. Right.
So
Yeah, that checks out. Okay.
Right, exactly. What I'm intrigued by, because we've known each other for a while now. It's been like almost 10 years.
At least 10 years.
Yeah, so what I had in mind were two particular topics.
Awesome.
And one of them, of course, your writing and what you're doing and releasing on Substack.
I'd be really sad if we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, and the other topic that I wanted to get into, I think we would be good to start with, is your work and your involvement in intention and
Like intentional
archetype.
communities?
Yeah,
Okay.
intentional communities. So, how about first, who are you? What do you do? And why are you passionate about writing?
Okay. Wow. This is going to be really interesting to see what comes out of my mouth because sometimes I wonder about those questions as well. My name is Robin George. I am a writer and a serial entrepreneur that lives in the Edmonton region, and I've dipped my hands into so many different weird things that when people ask me, what do you do? I often am like, I'm not sure. Today, though, I am mostly a writer. So what was the question? Like, what do I do? So what do I do kind of depends on what time of the year it is.
Yeah.
A lot of the times. During like the January, February period of time, I build lanterns.
Yeah, with your brother.
Yeah, that's right. Dylan Toymaker, highly
Yeah.
acclaimed artist.
Epic lantern maker.
Actually, epic lantern maker. He's actually
Yeah.
really amazing.
Yeah.
His website is lightcraft.design, and he has been building LED lanterns since like 2000.
Wow.
Long time.
That's longer than I
Oh yeah,
would have thought of.
actually quite a bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that technically that's not true. I think that weird copper tree that you see over there was probably pre-2000 even. So like there was a couple crafty projects that he did like really early on in the LED days. So it was just like weird crap that would not sell because like it was not very aesthetic because it was like really
Yeah.
new art form. But he kept at it for a long time, and in 2008 he recruited me after I was getting fed up of working in the financial industry, and we went and started a ill-fated business called Crystal Cradle together and went to go sell art. And then the global economy collapsed, and we struggled for about 5 years before giving up in 2013. It was a painful ride. It was a painful ride, but it was also a beautiful ride. And as a result of that experience, because failures aren't really failures, they're just a school.
Yeah.
And that was the school of hard knocks in art. So I have definitely become accustomed to art being a fight for survival and feel weirdly comfortable in the arena now. So one interesting thing that came out of that is that we got one of our projects out of the Crystal Cradle days called the Mill Creek Adventure Walk, got picked up by the French community here in Edmonton, and it turned into the La Canoe Volant, which is now, like 12 years or
Yeah,
something
which
like
means
that.
the flying canoe.
Which means the flying canoe.
Yeah.
The Métis indigenous story of four French Canadian voyageurs like trying to get home to Quebec to see their families and making a deal with the devil to get a flying canoe so they can get there. But if they don't get there fast enough, then they lose their souls forever. And it's just like mayhem and mischief all the way
I
east.
did not know that.
Oh yeah, it's a bit of a dark tale actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really gloss over that during the festival. Like, yeah, they legit gambled with their souls for a flying canoe.
It's like Santa and Krampus, you know?
It's got a bit of that
like
kind of Krampus
you go
vibe.
to Norway and they're like, Santa?
Yeah, no,
Like-
that's an advertisement. No, Krampus. That's a story.
Yeah.
Oh
So-
man! Apparently, Krampus actually accompanied Saint Nicholas, which is something I only just recently found out that they're apparently like they teamed up.
Yeah, because Krampus would like punish the bad kids, right?
Yep, he was the
So
Punisher, and Saint Nicholas
Santa's
was
like, here Krampus, and here Krampus, and here you go Krampus. There's a naughty boy in there too.
yeah. I love how those mythologies evolve over time. It's like you get called, no, you get thrown into a sack and kidnapped.
Yeah.
So yes, there is a bit of a Krampus vibe to the flying canoe origin story, but it's turned into like a 12-year tradition, and like honestly, like working inside the art industry and working with my brother just kind of got in my bones, and it's like at this point it's just hard to give up. So
Yeah.
like every season in the beginning of the year, I'm building lanterns, and then setting them up in the creek, and that's been a consistent gig. It's sort of like that's how my year sort of kicks off.
And is every year different? Are you guys making new designs and
Every
like
year we make something
layouts?
new. Yeah. I mean, like the whole thing doesn't get repackaged because, like, good lord, we have like 300 lanterns.
Yeah.
Could you imagine having to rebuild 300 lanterns? Like, no
way.
No.
No, so things
once
are
things get
repurposed.
built, we drag those lanterns out for as many years as we can.
Yeah.
But we're always adding new stuff every year. So, like, we had, I don't know, 4 or 5 new lantern series that kind of dropped this year to add to the 20, 25 pre-existing ones that were already there.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, at this point, I think my involvement in that has mostly shifted entirely to just lantern building and lantern repair. So I think I officially count as a toy maker elf.
Amazing.
Which is a bit of a weird vibe to like adopt, but yes, I am. If Dylan is Santa, then I am an elf, and that is a weird self-label to put on that, but that is one of the hats that I wear.
Yeah. Yeah.
The last couple years, that hat of like who I am outside of that period of time has sort of like varied quite a bit. In the post-pandemic era, like the pandemic hit and basically my entire life blew up. Like everything that I had counted on that this is my life just vanished.
Yeah, I had a
into smoke.
similar experience too.
Yeah. And one of those pieces that vanished was a very long-term relationship. And so like my mental health coming out of the pandemic was quite bad,
Yeah.
if you will. And one of the steps that I took to get out of that was to return to an earlier dream, which is writing. It was specifically writing a novel that I'd been percolating on for a very, very long period of time. So I took what little money that I had and just went to write. Went to go live in Nelson for the summer and did writing while I was there, and then came back and have sort of continued that project and been ongoingly going with it. I don't have like a writing educational background, so it's been a bit chaotic in terms of like the ebb and flow of like doing that kind of work. So it's taking more time than I would like, but it is unfolding. I expect it to be done this year. I probably would have said something similar last year, but I think that this year actually will get done. Last year I took a bit of a deviation and did a project management like side gig thing to try and pay the bills while I was writing. But at a certain point I was just like, I'm going to put as much work into this project management thing as I am going into writing. So, screw it. We're just going with the writing thing now. So career wise, I am playing chicken with the universe, that either it's going to let me be a writer or I don't really know what happens after that.
I think you have a good name for a writer.
Really?
Yeah, Robin
wondered
George.
about that.
It's like, it's easy, you know?
I love being easy.
Yeah, like George Martin, right? There's a couple R's in there, but
I have an M for a middle. Like I could go Robin M. George and like have actually thought about that.
There we go.
I might throw an extra
so that's
initial in
one
there
thing.
just to,
And the interesting thing is that decision is daunting. I think
God,
to like,
yeah.
because I think How old are you?
I'm 43.
Yeah, so you are
Resetting my entire life.
7. No, you're
Literal
7
midlife
years older than
crisis.
me. But
Yeah.
I have that thought of like I need to just like dive into the side things that I'm doing, but it's not paying the bills, right?
No, it's
But
not.
that's the magic of it. That how it becomes the thing that pays your bills
Yeah, desperation.
is from, and so yeah, when I look at the work that I'm doing, it has this similar feel of family dynamic because my brother's like technically my boss. He's like general manager of the plant, and but when I look at what we're doing together and what we're building and the kind of legacy that we're bringing to our family, it makes sense. And then all the side stuff is, for me as hobbies, like a privilege that I get to do it. You know,
Mhm.
when I look at my daily living, it's like, man, I have a house, I have a car, I have a like pretty sweet job, and in my downtime of things, this is what I'm doing. I'm recording podcast episodes with my friends. I'm writing music. I'm getting back into yoga and you know, a lot of what this is too is going towards my yoga book, right? So and yeah, so it's interesting to see that like you're in a position that's a little bit ahead of me, you know, of like I can drop all these other things that doesn't matter anymore, and I'm just going full steam ahead into my writing. And faith is a big one, you know,
God,
and
yeah,
it's
no,
not
there's
like
a lot of faith here. Not a lot of proof, just a lot of faith.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people just have trouble with that word because it's so religiously used, right? So like where faith in how this thing works out and like the languaging that you want to use, if it's the universe or God or whatever, that is a variable in the life change that's going to happen.
For sure.
Yeah, you know? And so when I look at, I'm like, man, do I have the faith in just like, I'm telling my brother I'm going to quit and then like jump into this? I'm like, no, I don't.
I wonder about that sometimes myself.
Yeah.
I've made the choice to just go full bore, but it is every day like I wake up, I'm like, holy shit, I better make this count.
Yeah, and that's what I felt over this winter. So I feel like getting older in a weird way. The seasons they're different than when I was a kid, you know? And so this winter I'm like, yeah, there's definitely a depression that creeps. That as soon as the fall comes and the winter starts coming, it's like, I just don't want to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, it was the perfect time to actually start back up with things, but in a manageable way. So when I thought to myself, I was like, you know, I'm only the one stopping myself from doing this podcast, for example, right?
Did you actually take a break from your podcast and only start up again recently?
Yes. Oh. Yeah. So I took almost a year of not doing it. And so I think it was December 1st was my first one back. And it was with my friend Zarnouche. And, or no, it wasn't with Zarnouche. I did a solo episode. But, yeah, that I have something that I can actually just start and plug away at. And when I look at, say, my friend Mark, who has set up all this for me, so all like the back end transistor FM stuff, he's the one that like got me into it because he was like, yeah, start your podcast, get going. And
yeah, I love your kid. I wish I had one.
Yeah. And so when I look at Mark or Sam Tripoli, there's like a light at the end of the tunnel, you know? And having a mentor is like super big, I think, in helping with that transition, you know? Because you want to have someone that's like ahead of you that you can turn to and be like, hey, what about this or this?
I keep waiting for the universe to like provide me with a mentor, but I'm just free balling it.
Yeah. But the thing is like with all your writing and the more you get involved, you'll start finding things. Like, you'll start finding people, and you'll start finding events, you know, like if it's a seminar, or if it's like this author or that author. And that's really how it came about with all the podcast stuff. And it really comes from authoring and publishing my book, and having these new gears turning in my mind, right? That like didn't exist before. Because after I published the book, I was like, well, I need to promote it somehow.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go the conventional way. I'm not going to call radios and TV shows and like morning shows. It doesn't work like that anymore, right? And I'm self-published. So I turned to podcasts. And Mark and Sam were the first ones that I came in contact with. And that just opened the door to all these other podcasters. So over the last like 4 years, I've probably been on like, I don't know, more than a dozen shows, some of them multiple times. And to see that what's so crucial is that slow grind. And like, so when I was looking back at the last year of not podcasting, I see where I could have kept going, you know, and I would be at 100 episodes, right? But that's not the point. All of that is part of the journey of learning. And so, yeah, so this choice of like just diving fully into it, what kind of goals or like what kind of strategy do you have that you think is going to be helpful with the success of your writing?
Oh boy. You know, I've been asking myself that question kind of a lot lately. I dived into Substack pretty heavily because I need a place to just get publishing. A really common issue that writers have when they're trying to get noticed is they'll sort of write a thing and then they'll send it to online magazines or like short story anthologies or book publishers and stuff like that, and they're just like begging for someone else to give them a platform. And all of the sort of autobiographies that I've read of people who have gone through this grinding process talk about like hundreds and hundreds or thousands of rejections before they like finally get something, and then the ball slowly starts rolling, and they'll get paid these tiny sums of money in order to be able to actually get published. And I was like, wow, that sounds super unappealing.
Yeah.
Just like, that's a really shocking amount of effort for like no return. And then I dug into book publishing returns, and like traditional publishing apparently is now at a place where like if you sell a book through a traditionally published mechanism, most authors will make about $250 a book. And I was like, wow, that is so awful.
Yeah, they take up to 80% royalty.
And in some cases more. Yeah. It's a staggering amount of money. And then I started reading other stuff where they're talking about like how the traditional publishers don't even give a shit about new authors really at all, because like they're bad investments. And like you can invest quite a lot of money into a brand new author, and unless it somehow resembles the formula, the mysterious formula that sells, they don't really care about you. Mm-hmm. And so unless you're connected or you're really good at just finding that one sort of like leverage point to be able to get a crack into the traditional publishing thing, and then find that advocate in the system to advocate for you to be their new Backstreet Boy, like it's not even really an option. So like I sat with that. I really sat with that because like I really wanted to like get my big break and get picked up by like one of the big traditional publishing, like, you know, the dream of like I'm going to be big and thrown out there. And I was just like, yeah, that's probably not going to happen for me because like I don't have a creative MFA. I'm not connected in with that universe. I literally came from like sales and project management and politics into writing fantasy fiction, which is like quite the jump. If we're being honest, like my interests in writing are vastly different than my education, and like that's just the truth. And so like credibility wise, they're like, why would we talk to this guy? Fair enough. So right out of the gate, I was just like, that's probably not going to work for me. And I can invest a bunch of money trying to chase it anyways, just for the glory of it. But realistically, I'll beat my head against that wall for like 5 years and have no money. So I was like, okay, so if I don't do that, what's left available to me? Well, the same path that I've been doing for like over a decade, which is small business style. Like, how can I just be out there and run this like it was a business?
Yeah.
And that it's a business that I'm basically in charge of all aspects of, and I have to network and connect with different people in order to be able to get this business off the ground. Okay, done this before. Varyingly successful at different times in my life, but I have done this before. I'm like, okay, so what does that look like? Well, that looks like self-publishing. Or it looks like subscription modeling. So that's when I started digging into things like Substack and Ream and Medium and stuff like that, where there's like this whole ecosystem of authors that are creating books and series and novels that are just publishing them piece by piece to people that subscribe to them directly. And apparently this is actually something that Charles Dickens did. Like his books were originally published as basically like monthly or weekly pamphlets that you would get in the mail, and you would pay like a subscription fee to be able to get like the latest update in his stories, which basically like a comic book version of a novel, except with no drawings or minimal drawings.
Yeah, it's just like chapter at a time
kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And that really appeals to me because it's kind of like you write the story and then you send it out and then you get feedback on it, and then you write the story and then you send it out and get feedback on it. And this apparently worked like in the 1900s as a model that actually paid authors, and like once they got some kind of name, they actually got paid for the work that they did.
Yeah.
Because the existing ecosystem for authors is fucking garbage.
Yeah, you have to be pretty fucking exceptional. And like
really
for example, there's
advertising.
a Navy SEAL named Jack Carr.
Yeah.
The Terminal List. There's a TV show about it.
Okay.
Now with Chris Pratt. You know, like the level of connections you have to go that far. You know, like this Navy SEAL dude comes home and he's like, shit, what am I going to do with my life? He's like, well, I went through all this shit in SEAL Team 6, so, you know, and has a friend who's an editor at a place, you know? And so unless you're Jack Carr and you're just set up for it, you know, like, oh, I'm going to become a writer because it's there, right? But to not have that and to decide to become a writer, then from what I've researched as well, like what publishers are looking for is how much of the footwork you do and have done to promote yourself to have a certain level of success. And what I've found, because I went through all these different forums of people who have done all sorts of publishing, right? And I got to this document that basically, it was an ebook that outlined the whole process of traditional publishing. And basically, if you self-publish first, in order for a publisher to even look at you, you'll have to have sold at least 20,000 of your book on your own. And I don't remember... I think that's like, and there's also like the timing of it too. Like, how long has your book been out? How long did it take you to get those, right? So if you're like, oh, I wrote my book 10 years ago, they're going to be like, right?
Yeah.
So this is where social media like weighs heavy as a contender, and what it takes to stylize your brand of this, right? And it's like, there's a whole rabbit hole of it. And,
oh, God, is there ever.
You know, even though we've had social media for so fucking long.
It's different now.
It is so different. And just the game that you have to figure out.
Specifically the ad game at this point.
Yeah. And, so... this is where I want to lead to the intention archetype stuff.
Yeah, all right.
And because it fits in an interesting way in regards to like this podcast itself and the yoga connection.
Sure.
And it's all based, you're going to hate me for this, it's all based on my joke
Oh no! Don't you dare!
But I thought about this. Okay, this is something I've been thinking about when it comes to cults. When it comes to cults, and like, first of all, how an intentional community even exists
Sure.
in a city, right? Because Archetribe is old too. It like came about
2008.
2008.
Yeah.
So-
Ironically, roughly around the same time that Dylan and I started Crystal Cradle.
So, were you a part of like forming that at all, or did that come about through other people?
I wasn't actually part of the formation of Archetribe. No. I was there immediately after its formation, and I did attend a party with the community in like 2006 with the groups that would then go on to form Archetribe. So, man, that's old history at this point. Dylan was part of the formation. He was part of the, I don't remember which branch of it, because there's like 3 different branches that then came together and formed Archetribe. I think he might have been connected to 2 of them. There was like Zion Collective, Gears, and something else. Yeah, I don't remember what the names were.
And were these the like techno and like EDM crews from back in the day?
Not exactly.
Or
no.
like ravers from back in the day?
Not exactly. They were like community interest groups. Like one of them was like a permaculturalist group that was like really into like off-grid survivalist kind of stuff, like renewable energy technologies and earthships and that kind of stuff. So like there was the permaculturalists, there was the New Age spiritualists, and then there was the radical social justice crowd. And so it was these 3 different groups that like gathered together for purposes that were distinct from partying, but then they all kind of knew each other, and at some point or another, someone proposed that they all band together and throw events. And so the 3 of them started collaborating on putting on raves, because obviously the common thread between those 3 things would be raves.
yeah.
But that's functionally what happened. And it was, it's like raves are a networking event. They're a networking event for like people of a certain sort of category of perception. And the events went really well. There was a lot of like overlap of values, and there was like a lot of community interest. And so then they started actually working more frequently together. And then I think in 2007, they started holding meetings about merging the 3 organizations. And then out of, did you ever meet Tara Fleener?
No, I don't think so.
Also known as Tara Entheos. She's really deeply involved in the
yes.
Envision Festival in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
She had a dream that the organization should be called Archetribe. And from that dream, the organization was named. There was originally going to be like a bit of a push towards calling it like the Zion something, but then they were like, no, that's actually really bad to call them that. You shouldn't do that because that has like deep meanings in other parts of the world. But he was like, oh, we're very white, and it's like, we don't know these things, but now we do, so we're not going to call it that. And we went with Archetribe, or they went with Archetribe, because I was not really on the scene at that particular time. Which I think was a great decision. It's a great name. It's a great name, and it does not have all that loading. Yeah, it does not have all of that loading. So I came on the scene at like the second event that group put on, and that would have been I think the first Symmetry. I think I went to the first Symmetry, and like the second Intention. Yeah, although Intention technically wasn't part of Archetribe, that's like a little bit complicated backstory, but like it more or less was. Yeah, it was that group of people still putting it on. It just wasn't under the Archetribe umbrella at that time.
Yeah, because I think the first one I went to was 2011. Intention.
Right. So that would have been like the last year at Camp Mascapitoon?
No, that's not it.
Was it at Stonehenge?
No, it was at Camp Casota.
It
It
was
was
at
the
Camp
first
Casota.
time it was at Camp Casota. So that must have been like 2013.
It would have
then.
either been 11 or 12. I don't
11,
remember
12?
precisely when we moved locations, but it
Yeah.
was around then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so my thoughts on this is when you have an organization like this that's wanting members and it's wanting to show people that there's a way to live that's, you know, harmonious with the planet, harmonious with the city, harmonious with the people around you. And so my joke is that it's best cult ever.
Yeah.
And
I remember this joke really well, Thorin.
But what I was thinking is when you look at the nature of typical cults, right? That's like head by one person. It's usually a dude.
One charismatic leader that's puts
Yeah,
himself above all that.
and you know, so when you have that standard, but then here we have what would look like a cult, but
There's
it's
been many
run
jokes about
by
that.
like a council of people, and it's actually run like an organization. It's actually run as if it'd be like a not-for-profit. Because I'm pretty sure it's like actually registered as a not-for-profit, isn't it?
It's not,
It's
no.
not not-for-profit. Not-for-profit.
Shh. It
It's
doesn't
not-
exist.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't. It's a big secret.
We won't edit that out. That's okay.
It is what it is.
So, because
It being a nonprofit or it being like a non-existent entity actually has been a bit of a source of contention amongst the organizing crew because there's like differing opinions on what it is to be an official organization in the eyes of the system versus not.
Oh my god, the level of fucking bureaucracy you
The
guys
amount of
would have to
paperwork
go
that you have to
through.
do,
Ugh.
like the fact that you have to have standing elections, that like it adds all these layers of accountability
Yeah.
to the system that takes away from the energy of actually doing the work of the organization. And so that's been a push and a pull for some time because there's been this idea of like, well, then maybe we could go do like casino charity events and then we wouldn't have to pay as much for our tickets. And like, yeah, but that's still work.
Yeah.
And then we have to do a bunch of work on top of that. Or
Yeah.
we could just live our lives and then just work on the actual mission itself.
Exactly. And so having like just one charismatic person that tries to lead an entire group, and we see it all throughout the last like 30 years, 40 years of how that just spirals. And I think you're going to have contention no matter what. But to be in a position where you want to start something that kind of gets the gears going on this like fundamental mechanism of encouraging personal growth in people, right? That, say, for example, like someone like David Koresh or like Jim Jones. Like, do you know who those are?
I know who Jim Jones is. Who's David Koresh?
David Koresh was like Waco, Texas.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that.
That like when you really look into these guys and who they were and what they were like, majority of them just hate the system.
Yeah.
They despise it. Like they
Kinda
don't want to take
understandable. It's
they
not
don't
like it's
yeah.
great.
They don't want anything to do with the government. They
Yeah.
don't want to pay taxes. They just want to live a free life. And usually in their like awakening, if it's either in David Koresh's, like he thought he was becoming God. He was like, there's a quote from him in an interview, essentially that's like, in order to become God, one must do what God does, right? And then what does that mean though? Because
Right,
then
yeah.
you look at what he's
Are
doing
we
and
all
like,
becoming God then?
right? And so you have this like awakening that is happening in these people, but whatever brought them to that awakening, they don't focus that on that anymore because now they have the activities of the cult, so they have to like do and live by their new awakening, and you know, like spiral out of control to their inevitable like defeat, right? And it's usually brutal, like Jim Jones or even Waco, Texas. You know, like the FBI just came in and just like killed everyone. And so why I thought it was funny when I was like, "Hey, Robin, man, you're like our cult leader."
Goddamn you, Zoran.
But when you have a group of people who isn't being manipulated by this like charismatic figure,
Who
because
says I'm not manipulating it?
yeah, like I just learned the lessons. I just don't give you guys guns.
No, that's a bad idea.
So
Ugh.
us as regular people, we have lives because we don't have that like credos, you know, like
We also don't have any like land, right? Like that's a really critical component of both Waco and
Yeah. And
where was Jim Jones? It was
I
in
think-
Panama or
I think it was in South America somewhere.
okay,
Yeah.
Colombia.
Yeah,
South.
I think it was Colombia.
Yeah, like each of them had land and resources, and like there's a really different distinction between like the container ship that is actually an isolated village versus what we do,
Yeah.
which is a temporary village at like for like 8 or 9 days every year. And so like the entire existence is so different. Like what would Archetribe look like if all of a sudden we had property and we had resources and we're all gathered in a single place operating together? Like it would be so different than what we do now.
Yeah.
Now that's not to say that we would evolve into like an actual cult with like a charismatic leader that's sitting on top of everything, because I think we've actually built an organizational system that would be resistant to that.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah, like I think we'd be quite resistant to that, and honestly, like some of the work that I've done has literally been to like proof the organization against people like me.
Yeah.
Is to make the organization.
You're like wait a minute, how would I manipulate and control everybody?
That's quite literally.
Well,
that's
let's
literally-
prevent that.
Yeah, let's make sure that people like me can't roll in there and take over the whole thing. Because like I'm probably not going to be there forever. Like there's other
Yeah.
stuff that goes on. Like I have my own plans. Like I might leave at some point or another, but I want to see Archetype continue, and I don't want to see it fall to the dictator, which is like a chronic problem for any system.
Yeah.
Like a talented, charismatic person rolls in, charms everybody, and now all the resources and all the attention are being directed towards them. That organization is basically doomed from that moment on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah. What are your questions? What about it?
Oh, you put me on the spot.
You called me a cult leader.
Touche. Yeah, so from what I remember, because I've, just as intention as an example, right? I've been a part of it for many years, and
like 11, 12 years.
yeah, and there's like a few years that I didn't go, but
Like this.
what I see as like a model for, like, it's gonna sound so weird, but like what a cult could look like that's operating and the sanity of it is there.
Okay.
And so like, but then it's not at all. It's,
I think I can take it from here.
yeah. So just like you said, like a pop-up village.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think what needs to kind of be addressed here is like, what is a cult?
Yeah.
And like, why do we keep returning to that? Like, a cult, from like a purely technical definition, is an unrecognized religion.
Yeah.
That's
Good point.
all it is. It
Yeah.
is just it's a matter of size. Every religion has started out a cult. And no religion is ever going to want to say that. Like, you don't want to say the cult of Catholicism.
Yeah.
But like at some point or another, well, maybe not Catholicism. That's like a bit of it because that's like Roman imperial shit.
Yeah.
But like every religion has started off as like 1, 2, 20 people. That's small. That was against the system that was in play at that time. That was countercultural.
Mhm.
Every religion was countercultural at some point, and when it was countercultural, it was a cult.
Mm-hmm.
It was a threat to the system because religions are used to structure power to maintain whatever systems exist at that time.
Interesting.
It teaches you values. It teaches how you how to live in life in society, and it goes and creates a systems of like community connection and obligation that basically teach you how to be a person living in society in a way that doesn't have you stabbing your neighbors for food.
Yeah.
That is the purpose of religion, is to keep you from stabbing your neighbor for food.
Mm-hmm.
Now, today, we think that's the purpose of law. We're not doing great on the not stabbing each other for food right now, if anybody hasn't noticed. and like there's a number of philosophers who talk about this as the meaning crisis, because we have lost our way. We no longer have meaning and purpose as a society. We don't have that common glue that binds us together that in North America for like the last 100 years honestly has been Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And we've walked away from Christianity, and what have we replaced it with? Not a lot of anything. Yeah, like honestly, science is kind of taking that position.
Yeah, and like ideology,
like
politics.
identarianism is starting to take a bit of that sort of position. Politics is taking a bit of that position. Hobbies are taking a bit of that position, which is pretty fucking weird.
Yeah.
Sports is taking a bit of that position. So it's just like all these different hacking things that kind of bind people together towards common cause, but it's created like the decentralized, ununified society that we see today. Just this chaotic mash of all these different tribes that are trying to coexist and getting really fucking angry with them with each other lately because they don't see eye to eye, because they don't have religion binding them together.
Well, it's a thought that I had a while ago. The one thing that like say Catholicism, Christianity doesn't have anymore, is they don't have the same level of fear of punishment of being like a heretic or like a blasphemer.
Yeah, you can't get exiled.
Right?
Yeah, excommunication isn't the threat it used to be.
And like it's still going to happen, but
doesn't matter.
It's like it's militarized sense that it had by being a part of monarchies and kingdoms, right? That like if you were like a witch or a heretic or something, like people will come after you, right?
Right, but that wasn't like the big threat. The big threat was excommunication, because if they excommunicated you, like all other Catholics were obligated to not provide you with any aid. And like humanity does not survive without its fellows. This is actually a really great tangent for us to go on.
Yeah.
Like humanity does not survive alone. The lone wolf dies.
Yeah.
That is a myth. That the lone wolf survives and is stronger than all of his peers? No, he dies.
Yeah.
Lone humans die.
Yeah, well,
and that
look
was
what
the
you're
threat
putting
of
yourself,
excommunication.
Yeah, look what you're putting yourself up against, right? You become a lone wolf. Now you're against a whole pack.
Yeah.
Like, who's going to get the food first? You as a lone wolf or the whole
like
pack?
the 6 dudes who jump you. Yeah, the 6 dudes every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be fucking Jet Li. And even he, in real life, might not make it out with 6 guys.
Yeah.
Like guns are really leveling.
Yeah.
And so this is what I think is I think this is actually a really important point with the intentional community. The lone wolf dies. The entire mythos that like you can be the superstar who makes millions and just does it all on his own. Yeah, no one actually does that. No millionaire got to be a millionaire on his own by being a lone wolf. He got there built on the backs of the work of others.
Mm-hmm.
He is at the top of a pyramid, every single one of them. And like, so those pyramids are literally what keep us going. That's where the leaders come from. That's where the cult leader comes from. He tries to build his own pyramid that's separate from the pyramids of the system.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to build his own pyramid.
Yeah.
But that's not actually how humanity evolved.
Mm-mm.
Humanity evolved in circle with like small villages. Like the evolutionary psychology is pointing at that humanity is wired for like the 50 to 150 people. That's how many people you can know. That's supposed to be your sort of family tribal unit that you grow up with. And like all indigenous cultures have something like this. The clans of like early Europe and England, they all had this. And it wasn't until that was destroyed that the industrialization of society and capitalism really took off, because now everybody was dependent on the giant pyramid that is the system. Whereas before they had their family, and that was what kept them alive. So what Archetribe is trying to just get people to remember that, where we came from, was that sort of that early village tribe that was your family unit, that cared about you, that stood up for you, that helped you survive in the cold winter when you were alone.
That's beautiful, man.
Thanks.
Yeah. And I love this because I've had conversations with you about all sorts of stuff, right?
Lots
and
of
like
things.
we've never really had our opportunity to talk about Archetribe and intention like this, and to get that sense of it. And I've already known that too, like being the
You
participant,
feel it
like
once you're there.
being like an organizer of it, right? And so it's I think it's just an innate realization. You just watch it all happening. You're there, and you just see everybody buzzing around doing their things, and like people are volunteering in the kitchen, people are volunteering
This is
here
how
and
it's
there.
supposed to be. You feel that when you're in it. You're like, this is how it's supposed to
Yeah, and that's why so many people at the end of it are like, even like there's plenty of new people who are like, I've never done this in my life, and this is the greatest thing. And so I wonder then if like there's these like primordial triggers, you know, that in our day-to-day society aren't getting switched on. And this is where then we need these kind of events, and why the structure of it is kind of imbued in the system that we're in, right? Where you still go to work and you still live your life and you have your family and your friends, and then once a year we're going to this like winter retreat, and we get to unplug from that, and we get to then simulate what a village would have been like now with the amenities of our modern living, right? So it's not like we're going out to the bush and we're like, okay, we have no electricity or running water. It's like we
Sounds
have to
exhausting.
like, yeah. And
I like indoor plumbing.
and the prep for intention anyway is exhausting, you know, like
it's quite a bit of work, yeah.
yeah. You know, when you're feeding and housing, you know, like 150, 200 people,
130 people max.
130 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there you go. It hits that limit, right? 130 people. And
Right within that evolutionary
yeah.
number. Yeah.
And every year I go too, it's amazing because everyone during the day is kind of spread out, so you don't really know there's that many people until the night comes, and then everyone's packed in the activity hall dancing. And yeah, it's been a huge part of my life. It's been transformational for sure.
Mine too. Yeah. I would not be who I am today if it wasn't for the fact that I stumbled in on this group like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
16 years ago.
And the interesting thing is like coming out of the pandemic and seeing how tensions are settling, you know, and I didn't get to go this past year, but everyone that I've talked to was like, man, that was like the best year.
It was.
Right? And I don't feel bad hearing that, like, oh, I missed out. I'm like, good.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it'll probably keep going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It'll be there next year.
Yeah.
Because there was in question at a certain point. They could have fallen on its face and died.
Yeah.
Came real close.
Yeah. Yeah. So that gives me hope, because then, you know, when I think back of the Nourish days, right, we had this hub for the community to operate out of, pretty much.
Yeah, that was another gift to the world that Archetribe gave that
Yeah.
nobody really knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Nourish wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for that convergence of tribes.
Really.
Like, look who ran it.
Yeah.
It was like Jordan Wilkie, it was Shanice, it was Ayaz, like all those guys who were out of the, well, not, I don't know about Jordan, but like the Kassams
Yeah.
are absolutely part of like the New Age spiritualists who were there at the beginning of Archetribe.
Yeah. Interesting.
And a lot of the people that they pulled in their initial sort of launch of the thing were people from, were from that community.
Yeah, that's what I wish could happen again. If there could be a place that acts as like a hub, like where just every day it's operating, right? But
It's
a lot of work.
yeah, no, that's actually a really interesting point, because like this actually ties into the mechanics of how you go and keep those kind of communities going.
Yeah.
And you can't rely on one place. Like even during the Nourish days, it wasn't just one place. There was the Treehouse, there was the Zen Den, there was the Sunbelly,
Yeah.
and there was Nourish, and each of those places kind of filled a bit of an ecosystem niche that kind of were acting as those centers where the community could kind of keep coming back to in order to to find each other and reconnect and remind yourself that you were part of something
Yeah.
that wasn't just happening once a year, because like once a year isn't really enough. Like you need, like church happens weekly for that reason, in order to remind you that you belong with the thing. That's like that regular reoccurring connection to the larger community is a really important part of like any community lasting. So like at the Zen Den, which was a house that I, along with 3 other people, founded in 2010, became like the frat house of the community, basically.
Yeah, it really was.
It really was. Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was
Oh my
fucking
God.
great. Yeah.
Best dance parties.
I was such a nerd in school too, so like
Yeah.
it was such a mental trip for me to be like, yeah, I literally am living like movie style parties on like a monthly basis. Like you watch
Yeah.
Van Wilder, like yeah, our parties were better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we had more DJs.
yeah,
We
like
actually had more DJs than Van Wilder's party.
man, epic all night from like 10 p.m.
to like 3 o'clock in the
2, 3
morning,
in the
like,
morning
all the
yeah,
time.
man.
Yeah.
Like 4, 5, 6 DJs.
It was wild, yeah. Like I could never have imagined that for myself. Like when I was going through high school, being like such a nerd that I was, and all of a sudden I was at the epicenter of this like wild frat house style parties thing. And so like the Zen Den filled that niche of like every month there was like a party that everybody went to, and like the Sunbelly was like this niche of like this is where you go to get your sort of like well-being workshop space in, and like
Yeah.
the occasional community potluck, because we gave up on potlucks after a while because it's just too much work to do everything.
Yeah.
So like we're just the party house, and we're like the organizational meeting house. So like we organize the meetings and we have parties, and that's it. That's all that Zen Den did. That's all we could do. And Nourish was the place where there was like people went to go eat, and then there was like the yoga studio downstairs, and so like the regular occurring pieces that happened there. I'm not exactly sure what Treehouse did, but somehow they were really important.
Well,
like people-
Shanice,
yeah, like
Shanice lived there.
The Nourish people lived
Yeah.
at Treehouse, and so
Yeah.
that they were always kind of part of the thing, but they didn't really do like a lot at Treehouse.
Yeah, I think so. I never really thought of this, but just trying to make a connection between like the 3 original kind of groups of Archetribe of like the permaculturalists, the spiritualists, and the like social justice.
Yeah.
It almost looks like Treehouse became like the permaculture one, and then Sunbelly was like the New Age
Spiritualists.
spiritual one, and then you guys were like
social justice.
maybe no, not really.
Okay. So like I did actually.
Yeah, maybe
start
that was like Tad, because Tad
right.
was
He
like
was also
big.
really involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
We were like the administration / party headquarters.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did the admin in the parties. that is what we did.
That is what you did,
Like,
yeah.
literally what we did.
Yeah. And it was brilliant, man, because you do like themes, right? You do like zodiac themes, and so like
Everybody comes
every
celebrate your birthday
every
party
month,
with us.
and
That
so
was great.
5 or 6 people will show up and be like, yeah, it's all their
The
birthdays.
Scorpio party was wild.
Yeah, the
Holy
Scorpio was
crap.
sad.
It's like
There's
what?
a lot of
Like
us.
8 or 9 of us.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
at one
that's
point,
great.
it's like I got a little out of hand.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Zoran and I shared a birthday party.
Yeah.
Several, actually.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah, so like those kinds of bridging connections are so important for the community, because you have to always be bringing people back together in order to remind each other like why this community operates. And that's why the pandemic was so devastating to us.
Yeah.
Because it broke all of those connections for an extended period of time, and people kind of forgot why they were doing it, because they weren't seeing each other on a regular
Yeah.
basis. So like that's why churches are like really like effective at lasting for long periods of time. Every week you're there. It's that ritualism of you're always going back, you're always reconnecting to the community. There's always that shared purpose that's being brought back in. So that's that piece.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to say that too. Yeah, because that's what I felt with the pandemic. Just
Shattered everything.
yeah. But I think what wisdom we can draw from it is the long game of it, right? And like, why is it worth it, right? And to me, it's not looking at like what am I getting from it that would make it worth it right now. I just look back at what I experienced. So I have this treasure trove of memories of being like, that's why that's worth it. And it was never about like what I'm getting in the moment out of it, if it's gonna like go, like, if I'm going to make money off of it or anything weird, right? Like, there isn't, it's all about working towards that experience where everybody is free to be who they are and have as much fun as you possibly can. And then, like, prop up people in the community who are doing events and doing workshops and playing music and yeah.
Like finding your allies, right? Like that's a big part of that community. Is like who's on a similar path as you and is willing to help you shoulder some of the burden of the direction that you're going.
Yeah.
And like the shared advertising for workshops, the just like there's so many things that I've done for the only reason that because somebody in the community was like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing," and I'm like, "Well, I'll come support you," and then I try it, and I'm like, "Well, that was cool."
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have started contact dancing if it wasn't for my brother.
Yeah.
And it was entirely by going to those kinds of events that like I saw what that looks like, and I was like, "Okay, I'm going to try that," and now it's a huge part of my life. I never would have picked up the sword if I hadn't like gotten involved in the community because like that led me to meet one other guy and so I learned how to go and spin like staff spinning back in 2009 and then because I learned staff spinning I met a guy at a different festival who was like, "Hey, I spin staff," and no, he doesn't spin staff, he fights with the staff, and I was like, "Okay, that's interesting, show me more of that." And like it just becomes this tool by which you can explore the world.
Yeah.
Because you get to meet all these different people who are exploring the world differently from yourself, and then you share those things because they're not going to like they don't usually charge you for that, and that's a big part of it. It's like we all offer our gifts freely within the community, and so because like the workshops are all provided for free inside of that event, well, not for I suppose you have to buy a ticket, but like you don't have to pay for the workshop individually. Then you get exposed to just like this wide array of things and get to expand your just perception and capabilities within the world, and it's a remarkable gift.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, I would say I wouldn't have gone in the direction that I did with music if it wasn't for these events, you know, of being exposed to people who are, like playing instruments in a totally different way, where coming into, the Archetype community, I grew up on rock and metal. So when I played, like I had no inclination of any kind of like meditative ambient music. And so then, you know, being introduced to yoga and introduced to community and being plugged right into it.
That's how you met John.
Yeah, that is how I met John.
Yeah.
And, you know, like we've been making music together for 5 years now. Right. And
yeah, he is incredibly talented.
Man, just absolute virtuoso.
Totally.
Yeah. And, so what I feel this is leading to.
Okay.
So like when we look at cults and we look at religions, there's like tenets, right? So they all have like what kind of do's and don'ts, or they have some like moral thing.
I got it. Don't worry about it.
If you want to just hold it, you can just take it out and just hold
I
it.
sure don't. I'm just messing with the mic. I went and bumped it.
Okay.
Go on.
So I went on your Substack.
Oh shit.
And I think this is what we can end on because I thought this is brilliant. But so
we're
what
gonna talk about like my fantasy writing, like not at all, are we?
No. It's what we talked about on
Saturday.
On Saturday, the how am I doing a checklist for well-being.
Oh,
I
was, like,
actually wrote it out.
You wrote it? What?
I wrote it out. Yeah.
You wrote out my checklist.
I was like, you know what? I need to.
Why?
I need to read this, but I need to like absorb it better. So, and I wanted to have access to it to like quote it, right? So I was like, I'm just gonna take the time and write it out. It took like 30 minutes. But,
okay. Well, I'm
so,
deeply flattered.
Man, some of these freaking questions are actually so deep. They were so personalized. It's such general questions, but they're so personalized that immediately some of the questions were like, that's exactly what I'm going through right now. I'm like, that is so weird to ask myself. Because even when I'm writing it and I'm reading it, how it's written, I'm asking that of myself as I'm reading it and writing it.
That was the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that you would write this.
And it's not the kind of writing that I'm trying to get famous on, but it's also really important.
But it is really, if you were to write just a nonfiction self-help book,
Yeah.
this would be it.
Yeah, I probably will write that book. Actually, that probably is the
Dude,
start of that book.
Just the amount of information in this, it's loaded, man. You can like literally write, like hundreds of pages.
Did you know that like my parents actually printed that article out and it came out to 23 pages. I was astonished. I wrote that over 2 days in a bit of a binge writing session. And like when my parents told me that it was 23 pages long, I'm like, "Oh. Okay, that is going to be a book one day."
Yeah. So, like the discussion part,
it's not done. That's just the first version.
Yeah. So I just wrote out the
checklist
questions.
itself.
Yeah, the checklist itself. Because
there's quite a lot.
There's everything else, right? I didn't like rewrite your whole article in my book.
That would be madness.
Like 23 pages.
That's what printers are for.
Like, it took me 7 hours. Word for word.
I mean, I would be
hands
super
just
impressed
crippled.
by your dedication. Yeah. Okay, so like you're sort of guiding this process. I won't like jump in yet. Like where are you going with this?
I wanted to look at some that like popped out to me.
Sure.
Okay, so what I just want to explain to people. So this is a how am I doing checklist for well-being. He starts it with a poem. And
how's the poem, by the way?
Good. I like it. I like any poetry, really.
You just like poetry in general?
I just like poetry
it's good
because
it's
like
poetry?
Yeah, because it's poetry. Like
generally
there's
want-
some that's like drab, and
Okay.
there's like in slam poetry can be a little bit too much, But
I really want
I'm just a fan
if
of
anybody's
poetry.
listening, I really want feedback on that poem.
Yeah, go. And all the links to everything is going to be there, so definitely check it out. And so like asking yourself, how is my sleep? How is my mouth?
I want to give just like a bit of context to this
do
first,
it.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so this is an essay that I wrote to myself, but I figured if I was going to write it, I might as well publish it because it was going to be a lot of work to write it, and I figured that if I was going to do the work, I might as well put it up there so that where other people can see. But it was born out of a sense of frustration of having done hundreds of hours of like research into self-development and health and well-being, and finding that I keep forgetting to do the things that I've learned, and just chronically because I have ADD and not the greatest memory, so like I'd forget stuff all the time, and then I'd come across this podcast and be like, hey, there's this cool thing that you can do to make your health better, and I'd listen to it and I'd be like, oh yeah, I know this, but I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
And so this happened to me pretty recently when I listened to an Andrew Huberman podcast on oral health, and I realized I hadn't like brushed my teeth in 3 days. And I was like, that's disgusting. I shouldn't be doing that. And so like I just realized that I didn't have any feedback mechanism in order to remind myself of everything that I've learned about how to live a healthy lifestyle. And so I put this checklist together as something that I just look at in the morning, every morning, to remind myself of the core tenets of how to live a good life. And I tried to structure it in a way that made sense. I don't know if I did.
Oh yeah, it did, man.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good feedback. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And I structured it so that there was like the questions, but then for everybody who reads, each question has a footnote, and the footnote will take you to all the research that I've done that prompts that question.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the part that I did not see.
Oh, you didn't check out the footnotes?
No.
Oh, dude, the footnotes is honestly where the gold
Yeah,
is.
I will definitely check it out.
Yeah.
But,
Not that
like,
the questions aren't gold. Apparently the questions are also gold, but honest, I put the stock in the footnotes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like by the end of it, I was like, man, this is actually really extensive self-work. Like, as simple as some of them are,
Mm-hmm.
like how is my mouth, right?
How is my mouth? That's a big fucking deal.
Did I brush once, twice, or 3 times today? Did I floss or use mouthwash? Do I have cavities? When was the last time I
Saw the dentist.
visited a dentist?
Yeah.
My gums inflamed? Because I think, like, what I got out of it is this application of self-awareness through asking questions.
Yeah.
Right? And it seems so trivial,
It kind of is.
but just to be able to ask yourself basic questions, and I felt like it got deeper. Like, it starts pretty, like, surface of, like, yeah, you know, how is my mouth? Am I gonna, like, perturb someone because my mouth stinks, you know?
But that's like actually a really deep thing, right? Because like the bacteria in your mouth has really profound impacts on like what your skin health is going to be,
Yeah.
on like what your overall inflammation levels are going to be, on your immune system response, on your ability to digest food. Like your bacteria gets too loaded up in there, like it can affect your mental health. Like there's so many there's so much evidence that shows that oral health is also mental health, and like
Whoa.
not getting good dental care is a significant statistical disadvantage towards any sort of academic performance, like on a really significant level. So
Yeah,
like
and that makes
there is
sense.
like literal self-defense in asking those questions, because if you don't look after your oral health, you're going to get stupider.
Yeah, and even, like, not knowing that, I would say if you're not so self-reflective, if you're not just asking yourself questions about behaviors and stuff, then having a checklist like this and asking yourself that, like, do I have any, the immediate, like, kind of response in the brain is like, who gives a fuck,
Yeah.
right? And so
That's a problem for tomorrow.
Yeah, and so what I like about this is of the progression of it is to take you deeper into a self-analysis that can uncover things that would be linked to why you would have that reaction,
Yeah.
right? Why you would think, like, oh, who gives a fuck about my teeth, right? So, like, that reaction, that source of that is coming from somewhere, and there could be a question later on that's like, oh, that's because I just neglect everything, you know?
And yeah, some of those questions will uncover those things. Honestly, like that entire checklist has actually been a deeply uncomfortable process for me, because like
Yeah.
I keep asking those questions.
Oh, man.
And my list of to-dos like kind of keeps growing, because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm actually not addressing this shit.
Yeah, like, what am I consuming?
Yeah.
My God, I went through this one. I was like, wow. Yeah.
What are you consuming?
Like, am I taking my time to chew my food? I'm like, absolutely not. As I was writing that in my book, I was like, no.
Yeah, and chewing your food is linked to all these different things, like your jaw health, like your capacity to be able to breathe through your nose, the
Yeah.
amount of saliva that's built into your food, like your ability to digest and actually get micro and macronutrients out of your food. Like chewing is apparently a big friggin' deal.
Yeah. So,
And I almost never chew my food. I literally just like breathe
Yeah.
it in.
yeah.
So I
And,
have
like,
to remind myself.
And yeah, I think it's like the last 3 where it gets, especially the last 2, like, how are my relationships and how is my spirit? What was it here? Yeah, am I treating myself with grace and forgiveness?
Oh,
Yeah, it takes a dive into a deep
Yeah.
end. And
honestly, that's the ones that I need the reminders on the most. I'm like super self-critical.
yeah.
And being a writer, like I get rejected all the fucking time. So I've like got lots of real world evidence of like my unworthiness. Like it's, so I have to be constantly reminding myself to treat myself with grace.
And so I can see how these play with each other, like they are kind of like interconnected, right? Right? Because if you're not treating yourself with grace, you know, like, how would you recognize with number 10 here is there someone in your life I need to repair a relationship with, and is it in my power to do so?
Yeah, like the impetus for a lot of those different things is like trying to uncover what it is that leads a person to being depressed. right? Because like depression has like a million different reasons. Like if anybody ever says you're depressed because you're like this, they're telling you why they are depressed. They're not telling you why you are depressed. They're telling you why they are depressed.
Yeah.
And like that's really important to keep in mind anytime someone gives you mental health advice. They don't know you. They don't know why you are depressed.
Yeah.
And like I've struggled with depression through my entire life, and looking back on it, I've been depressed for a lot of different reasons. Like,
Yeah,
sometimes it's physical, sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's relational, sometimes it's career, sometimes it's any number of things.
Yeah.
How do I find out the thing that's causing it now? And so those questions were designed to act as like a dashboard of like lights in your car. Like what's the warning light on today? And sometimes it's because your relationships suck and you need to work on them. Sometimes it's because you need to brush your fucking teeth. Sometimes it's because like your car is broken down and it needs a new battery and it needs new tires and it needs all these different things and it's causing you these microcosms of stress. So fix your car.
Prime example, my truck. So I have two vehicles.
Sure.
I have like my daytime like Jeep, and then I have a work truck that's not working right now because I need a new battery. And I helped John on Sunday go to his mother's. So his mother passed away recently, and he's like cleaning out her.
How recently?
room. Like 2 weeks ago.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'll message him. Thanks
Yeah.
for letting me know.
Yeah. And so because my truck's not working and I didn't take care of it and I didn't put a new fucking battery in it, I had to borrow my dad's truck. And it was like on the night of our family dinner and he was already using it. So he's like, yeah, you won't have access to it until like 4:00. So like crunched us into this timeline. And like, yeah, those kind of questions just go right into that. They're like, man, you know,
There's this
why?
warning light here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been
As
an
an
issue.
example, like this shingles up here. Like I promised my parents I'd fix this like 6 months ago, and I haven't. And every time I come down here, I'm like, oh yeah, that's that promise that I made that I haven't kept up on.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's just this niggle on my mind of like you aren't keeping your promises.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sucks. And now it's on my radar, but I also have like 50 other things on there, so it's like down the list.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, those are the things that like you wake up and you do it in the morning. You're like, I'm gonna make some coffee and I'm gonna fucking get to this.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I usually just like run out the door and go straight to the gym.
You're like, I need to be strong first.
Yes.
And then you come home and you're like, man, I need a nap.
I'm tired. I probably should be doing my renos before I go to the gym. Actually, now that I think about it, probably a really good idea. I've definitely overcommitted to the whole like my body motion is the path to happiness, and so like I've gone really deep down the pathway of like personal fitness. Yeah.
Me too. I do CrossFit, so I did my workout today with my trainer, and man, it's a world of a difference. Like, but I'm noticing that I'm just becoming prone to injuries because
That's why I
CrossFit
stopped doing CrossFit.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Like my knee is. There's a concern now. You know, like I just have this like kind of like burning pain. It's not bad, but I know I've done something to it, and
Like right here.
it's like right on the inside of the knee.
Oh, you
like,
probably
right
need to
here.
do like VMO squats and like the tibialis raise.
I'm thinking yes, and I'm thinking I just have really tight hamstrings right now
That's
and into my
that's
hip.
also a thing. But there is
Yeah.
also, I bet you, because like CrossFit doesn't train tibialis raise very much, and that's like the calf muscle right here.
Yeah,
This made
you know
a
what?
huge difference for me when I got strong here.
Yeah, it's like
Huge difference. My knee pain went away.
sick. Yeah. So
ATG online, seriously, worth the $60 a month.
ATG online, what is that?
It's like Knees Over Toes Guys program.
Oh
Wild,
yeah.
super effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it changed my life.
Sweet.
Yep.
Maybe I'll try to get him to sponsor me.
You should try and get him to sponsor me too. I just gave him like free advertising right there, but like legitimately, it was a great program. I'm still using it.
Sick. I think that's it. I think we can wrap it up there.
Sure.
I think that was great, man.
Yeah, and technically I'm actually a fantasy author and not a self-help author, but apparently I'm going in a different direction these days.
Yeah. I wanted to pick that one out because it was like in the context of kind of like what we were talking about, and
It was actually an interesting bridge. Yeah. Like, because it is very related to like community
in
well-being.
the relatability to
Sure.
Yoga Connection, because stuff like that is
really
what,
apropos to like your podcast. Yeah, true.
yeah. So yeah, stuff like that is there's examples of it, or there's similarities to that even in the yoga world, right? Of and the term in yoga is svadhyaya, self-study. So it's like having these questions. You are studying yourself because you're studying what you're thinking and you're studying what your responses are.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What question would you add to that list and where?
Oh my God. What question would I add and where?
Yeah, I'm so curious because like you're deep down this pathway as well.
You know
so,
what?
Like,
how's my environment?
okay.
Okay, just so there's not dead air. I'm just reading this.
I didn't give him any time to prepare for this question. I probably should have.
No, but that's good. I'm like being in the hot seat. Okay, so yeah, how's my environment?
All right.
I would add, how am I disturbing it?
How am I disturbing my environment?
Yeah.
What would you get from asking that question?
So, I think in two ways. There's going to be in a way that no one really sees, and you fuck shit up, but
Okay.
no one really knows. And it could be like secrets that you know about people, or it could be you're a clumsy person, so it can be like, how am I being disruptive without really people know because like I'm sly about it, or you're just like how you speak to people in generally, so like in your environment, how are you treating the people that are in your regular day-to-day living?
That's interesting. Yeah.
So
It's almost like an environmentalist sort of perspective, like a leave no trace kind of like concept of like how am I adding to the chaos of my environment?
Yeah.
So like part of the point of it is of the questions is not just to ask questions in order to find ways of which I'm being bothersome, but it's also to like give hope that it can be corrected.
Yeah.
So like if I was to ask that question in it, like what's the positive spin on getting that question asked?
So what it reminds me of is,
are there traces that I've left behind that I need to clean up? Have I created a disturbance that requires redress?
Yeah, and it could be like physically, emotionally, it could be like actually you got into a car accident and you're embarrassed and you just dip out, right? Or, you've inadvertently or advertently caused like drama between people in your life, and now there's like all this upheaval between people. And so when and this might be a little bit subtle, but it reminds me of I did a Qigong workshop with this like Qigong master named Michael Shen, and he was telling us about not disturbing the air around your mouth when you breathe. That you breathe so subtly that no one would be able to even tell, like, that you're even breathing. And his philosophy of that is that when you're not paying attention to your breath and you're a heavy breather and you're disturbing all the air around you, chances are you're just a disruptive person and you're disrupting everywhere you go. If it's with your voice, if it's with your movement, if it's with just sound, you're just like a disruptive person. And then what Qigong and Tai Chi and these practices are helping with is to bring your awareness to your breath so that you can train yourself to not be a disruptive person. And so you can move through the environment as if like you're not even there. It's like no one knows you're there. And so that's what I would ask, like, how am I disturbing my environment?
I love that.
Yeah.
Probably add something like that. I'll probably workshop it a bit, but that's a good question. Actually.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy to add to it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for chatting with me today,
Yeah,
man.
thanks for having me on. This is fun. This is a lot of fun than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Gotten pretty good at it over a little bit of time here. So,
Yeah, I can see that.
yeah, so I'll have all your links up. So primarily, or they can mainly find you on Substack.
Substack.com. Yeah,
Cool.
That's my primary place. I mean, you can find Tales of the Godswood on Facebook is another way to go and connect to me. But honestly, like, come directly to the Substack. It's the best way to get stuff. I publish there first. I publish there predominantly, and like that's really the primary focus. Like, if you also want to check in of any of our other projects, like there is archetribe.ca. And the Archetribe Community Events Group on Facebook. But if you don't live in Edmonton, Alberta, that won't do you a whole lot of good.
Yeah.
I mean, we are talking with people from Calgary about opening up a Calgary tribe. Yeah.
Wicked.
As well, which
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. Like, if Herd Cats guys
Yeah, they need
comes
it
through,
for
then,
sure.
Like, we definitely want to have some sort of like hub in Calgary that can start gathering people there as well. But yeah, for me specifically, robingeorge.substack.com.
Wicked.
That's where I'd recommend you come find me.
Yeah, and I'll have that link in the description. So thank you for listening. Thank you for coming on this journey each week, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy.
Been on your knees for so long. Seeker, the congregation's long gone. Reaper, the priest is counting his blessings. Sleeper, it's only time you're wasting. I wipe the tears from my eyes. Oh yeah, I cried. And never noticed me from all the years I lied. Cast me down from above so I can ask again. Another favor to sow and reap rewards of your love. When the favors run out, you're left on your own, without a shadow of a doubt. There's no love for you to know. Dealer, the cost of hell has risen. Pleaser, you beg to be forgiven. Stealer, you've taken on